perception, because I'm on the outside looking in, and here's what I hear. I can't stand trying to set up a business here. It makes me crazy. Nobody knows how to help me. Why is there so much frustration? Is it just that there's 5 people who have a lot to say, and it seems like then everybody feels that way? Because every time I talk to you, Laura, you have great stories to tell me about what Frederick does to help businesses, about how the county is so involved in economic development, in workforce development. I mean, you guys always, and Steve, every time I speak to you, it's the same thing. You guys have great programs. So what are we doing wrong, or what's wrong with this picture that the people who are trying to set up businesses are jumping up and down and turning bright red in the face and screaming that nobody will help them? Where is that disconnect coming from?
Actually, a lot of good questions and a lot of things have been said. I'm going to jump on all of them and I'm going to get to that answer, sort of. I'm not pretending to have the answers to anything. One thing from a marketing standpoint that Maryland, I think, does well and needs to do much better is in terms of planning and growth. It's an advantage I think we have over Virginia. Virginia has done, and worked with Virginia as a planner, done very good things. But what I mentioned earlier, regulatory, it's a little more predictable, it's a little easier, but then what is the quality you're getting too as well? Maryland it's a value, it's a social value advantage of where, hey, we may lose out on the dollar signs here and here, and it's a small percentage difference as has been explained here, at least what we think is a small percentage difference. But this community, in terms of it's more walkable, I can relocate a business here, I can have my office here, my workers could go here, here, and here, live here, without driving 37 miles. I think that's the advantage that we're not perfect at it. I'm not saying we are the walkable block from Frederick all the way down to Bethesda. But those pockets are there and that's starting to turn. Steve used the Whiteland example, which is a very important example in Frederick. The 2010 comprehensive plan we passed in November started really looking at this issue from a neighborhood level. And what we've done was broke the plan up in 3 tiers. It's really 2 tiers, but the first 2 tiers, one is infill and development. What do we have left? 600, 700, 800 acres of vacant land that we need to infill, and how do we do that right? And which corporations and which business do we attract there, and what's the incentives for that? 2 is outside of the, that's more of the core area. Outside of the core area, it's kind of the same deal. This is the next area we want to lift up in terms of density and bring that compactness back that's reflected in the historic downtown. So that has to be translated, though, into a regulatory document, because the comprehensive plan sounds great, we're going to go do this, we're going to go through neighborhood planning, blah, 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 but your zoning ordinance, or what we call in the city of Frederick, your land management code, has to be complementary to that. And when that becomes 17 different ways to infill a window, that's where the frustration comes, or to put in a window, that's where the frustration comes in from the small business community side, which we have recognized, and we're trying to streamline. For example, I'll take it from the historic preservation side. When you want to build an extension to a historic building, or you want to even put in new windows in terms of energy efficiency, you have to get a preservation permit, you have to get a building permit, then you have to get a zoning permit, and each one costs something. So what we're trying to do is actually streamline that to one permit and lower that cost. So yeah, you're not going to get $75 a pop, and we were getting 100, instead of 150, we're going to get 75. But now that many more people are willing to come in and say, hey, I'm not going to wait 5 more years to do my window or 10 more years to build this building. Now I have an easier process, and in terms of permitting, I don't have to go to 4 different places. We even set up a one-stop shop where on the preservation side and permitting side, we're there at the table when the applicants come in walking off the street. And this really is to smaller businesses, more so than the larger businesses. The other side to it, too, is getting that predictably into your zoning code or your land management code. If the value is we want a walkable community with certain densities, then your regulations can't be, oh, but we need 25% open space on this 3rd acre of lot. You have to be realistic about that, and what does that mean? The challenge is balancing that value within the community, too, as well. So that's where it gets lost, because you're going to have residents saying, hey, we don't want this, we don't want that, we'd rather have this, but we want that business, we want that job. So that predictability from the residential standpoint, from the resident standpoint, and the business standpoint in your systems is the challenge. And I think we're there and we're moving there, and I think that's why Frederick has done very well.